Alright, I am back again with a classic shorter video where I am going to be discussing the secret to being the perfect game master. And I touched on this a tad in one of my older videos, but I understand that I have gained a lot more new viewers since then, and I think it has the credence to make a whole video about it, rather than just touching on it for one sentence. So I will tell you right now, the secret is pretty simple, and all it takes is one easy trick. And that is to simply ask for criticism from your players and work with them to make the game better for everybody. And in this video, I'm going to discuss with you what questions to ask and how to best use your players' critiques. And then finally, I'm going to give you a super secret piece of advice that I will leave for the very end of the video. So without further ado, let's get into things. So, you're the game master and you have spent hours upon hours working on your new adventure. And you played it and it just wrapped up and you're sitting there and you have no idea how to feel about it. You enjoyed yourself, had a good time, ate some snacks, drank some soda, and your players were laughing and having a good time as well. But you have no idea if what you just did was considered good. Well, I will tell you right now, the only way you will ever know if you are a good GM is by asking your players. They are your audience, and they are the ones experiencing this story you have prepared. So obviously, they are the only ones with say on if it was good or not. But I would bet everything that most people don't want to criticize their friends' writing. It's just awkward. I mean, it's something that you care about and have put a lot of work into. And your players don't want to just start picking it apart right away, saying they didn't like this and they didn't like that. So the best thing that you can do as a GM is ask for that criticism and ask for them to pick apart your work. This way, they aren't going to feel bad and you can further expert your style of writing. And the questions you want to be asking are this. First off, you want to ask, what did everyone like? This is important because what everyone liked is always going to be on the top of their minds and is going to be an easy question for them to answer. Also, asking what people liked is a great confidence boost for yourself. If you immediately look for your flaws in what you make, you're never going to enjoy creation. So just taking the time to appreciate what you did right will help inspire you to improve on what you did wrong. And finally, asking what your players liked is the easiest way to know what you should incorporate more of in your adventures to come. And then asking that again next week, you'll get different answers and then you know what to add in more of and more of and more of until you have the perfect adventures for your players. The next question you're going to want to ask to your players is what you did wrong and why your players disliked that aspect of your game. And this one might hurt just a bit, but it's necessary and it's important. It's important to understand what your players disliked for an equal and opposite reason of what they liked. If you know your players didn't like something, you know not to include it again and your games will be better for it. And if they dislike something in the next game, and the next game, and the next game, you start taking all of those things out, and then you have a perfect game. And knowing what your players disliked will also help you to understand what you should improve on as a writer and a game master, especially if they answered the second part of this question and explained why they disliked it. You see, criticism is never a bad thing. And if it is coming from a pure and fair place, it can be some of the most helpful information for writers and GMs of any experience level. If a certain type of game style has worked for you in the past, it may not always work equally across the board. So even if you're a 20-year veteran GM, you may start with a new group and realize that you have to switch up your game to best satisfy what they're looking for. And if you never ask for criticism, you'll never improve the game for your players. Finally, the last question you can ask of your players is what you can improve on next time. And this may sound similar to the last question, but there is a sharp difference. You see, if a player dislikes something and understands why, there is a more than likely chance that it is better to leave it just out of the game. But if your player dislikes something but believes you can improve on it and already has an idea on how you can do that, they have done most of the work for you. This final question opens up a conversation that can save games. This question is designed to help the game become everybody's. Not just the DM's game, but the player's game and the GM and the player's game. You work together to create something that is the best for everybody. The more and more stake you allow your players into helping you write your games in a way that is best for them, the less and less stress and work you're going to have writing. And the game is going to be 10 times smoother because of it. So this is almost the most important question because it not only improves your writing for your group, but also promotes a more hands-on responsibility for the game from your players, investing them further into this wonderful hobby. Okay, this may be a shocker to some, but all of those questions that you just asked of your players can also be applied to each of your players individually as well as a group. Which means you can go to each of your players every session and tell them what you liked, disliked, and think they could improve on. And now I'm sure you're thinking that this could be contrived as mean or rude, coming from a position of power onto your players. But your players have power too. Your players are the ones who control the story you wrote. And if you're opening a door for them to critique you, that door has to go both ways. And critiquing your players just as they critique you can enhance your game and your enjoyment of it. But just like your players, you have to be respectful and kind. Have this critique come from a pure place. Don't ever bash a player or make them feel bad. Find fair and reasonable things that you believe they could and should do to improve the game. And be sure to praise them for all of the great stuff that they already do for the game as well. This also applies to your players as a group. The party can be a bit of a character in itself, with your players being mixed into this mob mentality very quickly. And just like everything else, this can be a good and a bad thing. So be sure to post criticism to your party as a whole to ensure everything runs smoothly. The goal of this is to allow your group to function with an open conversation about improving the game for everyone, allowing for more fun and smoother play for all. So keep the focus on fun and remember why you do this. Thanks for watching another one of my videos. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. If you're new here, please be sure to go back and watch my last video where I reviewed my first ever D&D adventure. And if you have anything at all to say to me, leave it in the comments. Thanks for watching and have fun playing games.